At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage is not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast here to tell you about Michelob Ultra Courtside. It's getting fans closer to the NBA with a chance to win prizes like courtside seats, a trip to All-Star Weekend, and much more. Check it out at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access, Courtside 24-25 sweepstakes, no purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 and up. Begins on October 1st, 2024, ends July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/courtside for free entry deadlines, and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
It's winter, and you can now get almost anything you need for the coldest months of the year delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a ski slope delivered, but you can get dish soap delivered. Sunshine, that's a no. But a bottle of wine, that's a yes. A snow angel, sorry, no. But angel hair pasta, Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Jacob Minter. Yeah, good job with the shot, and the Slough Jets have taken the lead on the power play. With 20 minutes with the shot force goal. No need to stay from Lorde, and Campbell finds himself in, and it's 3-1 to the Chelsea Chieftains. Hello and welcome to Zero Pucks Given, the UK Ice Hockey Podcast. We're in partnership with the Hockey Art Co, hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best and hated by the rest. Listeners to Zero Pucks Given get a 10% discount off everything site-wide at hockeyartclothing.co.uk. Just use the code ZP10. We're also in partnership with Manscaped, the globally recognised male grooming brand, with top-of-the-range products such as the Lawnmower, the Weed Whacker, the Beard Hugger and the Dome Shaver Pro. These products are really, really good. I use them myself, and you can get 20% off of everything from manscaped.com when you use the code 0pucks20. Also free shipping, so an absolute no-brainer. And we are also on the Sports Social Podcast Network, the largest sport podcast network in Europe, boasting over 500 podcasts from more than 20 different sports. And we're thrilled that the ZPG Ice Maidens and Zero Pucks Given are a part of it. Well, welcome along to episode 156. This is an episode that was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago, but it got postponed. One that I've been really, really looking forward to, and I know a lot of other people have as well. We're going to be catching up with Slough Jets equipment manager Wayne Box. Absolutely delighted to welcome to the podcast Slough Jets equipment manager Wayne Box. How you doing this evening, mate? You okay?
No, buddy. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome. We did discuss this when I came down to Slough for the first Streatham game of the season, as we're currently now building up, of course, to the second one, the final fourth game between the two of you.
Yeah.
And it's something we've not had on the podcast before. We've not had an equipment manager. I'm sure it's quite a varied role that we'll get into, but we'll start with the Jets and the season that they're having. It's been, I'm sure, what was planned is happening.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. One thing that Lucas doesn't tend to do is to set specific goals at the start of the year. So he doesn't say, right, this year, boys, we're going to go all out and we're going to win the league. We're going to win the playoffs, whatever. We don't have goals like that. He knows the potential of the team. I'm pretty sure the players will know the potential of the unit that's around them, the group that's around them. But yeah, we didn't really set any specific goals. But I think if we weren't in the position we're in, it would perhaps be seen to be a surprise or a disappointment maybe. But yeah, we're just enjoying the hockey, mate. It's really good. It's a great competitive league this year.
But among that top four, you kind of get the feeling that they could beat each other.
100%.
Throughout the top four, which has made it really exciting and kept it quite tight, coming into the last 6 games of the season now,
yeah.
which we haven't had for the last few years, to be fair. Streatham, to their their strength have been running away with it.
Yeah, they have. They've had some really good seasons. So we're getting there. We're catching them slowly, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. And no doubt it'll be an absolute humdinger. That is for certain.
Absolutely certain to be. I mean, coming out from last season, then there was the moves by the club were almost viewed in jealousy by everyone else when they were locking up the likes of Seb Moore, Christian Moore, Jack Goodchild, all on 2-year deals. Yeah. That kind of showed the future planning that was going on at Slough, and then coming from last year being defeated in the cup final ever so narrowly to a bit of a blowout in the playoff semi-finals. That must have been there as building blocks to take these young players on. Almost like that's a good experience that they kind of had those downs.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, exactly that. I think the playoff semi-final was a weird one. It was a strange game. The guys were really up for it. They were really happy. They were in a good place. They trained well, prepared well. Went into a lead, I think, after the first period. We were up.
Yeah, short-handed lead after about 4 minutes. Yeah,
Jack Goodchild, I think, put one in. And then, I think the problem was against a team like Chelmsford with that offensive nature that they've got, you give them an inch and they will take a mile. And that's exactly what they did. They got a couple of goals and the floodgates just opened and we just couldn't respond. And it was, credit to Chelmsford. They just, they turned the screw and the rest, as they say, was history.
It was, yeah. I mean, up in the commentary gantry, it was incredible to watch the way the game sort of ebbed and flowed. And as you say, once Chelmsford, I think they scored 3 in 70 seconds.
Yeah.
And it almost killed the tie completely. But I mean, just to watch them on a rink as well, like Ali Pali, which is quite open. It's not the biggest, it's not the smallest.
Yeah.
But I always have loved the way that Slough play. And the first time I saw you guys this year was in the first home game against Streatham. Yeah. And in all honesty, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
That opening couple of minutes, the pace and the speed on the forecheck and how aggressive it was. It was just incredible to see that the difference in these young lads from last season to this season.
Yeah, it's I mean that's the Lucas Smith way all over. Speed and skill, get in behind, get the puck deep, get it into the end of the rink and go to work and you can see it even when teams know it's coming and they know what we're at the tail end of the season now. Every team knows what they're going to get when they play against Slough. But because of the speed, because of the fitness, because of the conditioning that the boys are in, or the condition they're in, some teams just struggle against the speed and the skill and the conditioning and the intensity as well. It's just relentless. You watch it sometimes and you almost feel sorry for the other team. And we had it actually the last Chelmsford game. It was right at the end of the game and. I think it was one of the, I won't name him, one of the Chelmsford players was lined up in front of the bench at a face-off and he just said, "I'm really tired, I just want to go home." It was literally like seconds left in the game. It was quite funny. But,
that one went all the way to a shootout as well, that game, didn't it?
No, the last one when we were at home.
Oh, the one up at your guys,
that literally just happened a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hell of. Oh, no, but look at that. That's a hell of a. That's a good example. We're on the penalty kill and we're thinking, right, okay, we've got to kill this penalty off, and then little Ollie Hemmings-Mayer gets an opportunity, takes the puck, steams down the left wing, cuts inside, slides it across back of the net 1-0 before most of the Chelmsford players even realised what was happening. And I think that was a huge moment of the game. When you're on a power play in someone else's rink and they go down the other end and score, it just killed it. It just absolutely killed the momentum, and we went on to win fairly comfortably against a decent Chelmsford team. Let's not mess around. Chelmsford are a good hockey team. So good stuff, mate. Good stuff.
Yeah, it has been. One thing I did notice when you guys played down at the Riverside, in the game that you did win in the shootout, was saying how aggressive the forecheck is. It was like a 3-pronged attack, and they were trying to clear down the edge, down the line, no way out. Ended up clearing down the middle, and then it would just get intercepted. And I think you scored 2 or 3 goals that way on the night. That way,
it's just Smith's way. It's, the guys have really brought into it, and that's really important. Is that the guys have they know what Smith's is about. They know how he wants them to play, and they've really brought into it. Everyone has brought into it, from the 16-year-olds that we've got coming through this junior system, to the Neil Lydiards who have been in the league for sort of nearly 30 years. Everyone's brought into the way that we want to play and the hockey that we want to play here in Slough, and it's just great to see.
And as you say, with the junior setup, one thing I did notice in your rink that I really, really liked was after the warm-up, the junior players cleared the pucks on the ice before.
Yeah, a little bit of grounding for them.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, they know where they stand. They're an important part of the team, of course they are, but at the same time they're still earning their stripes, as it were. A bit of an old school, maybe not old school mentality, but they clear the pucks up, and I'll have them filling the water bottles up and stuff like that, just so they know that they're know their place. That sounds a little bit controlling and a bit dictatorship. It's not like that at all, but it just keeps them on the ground. It doesn't pump the tyres up too much. Yeah,
absolutely. That's the main thing, I suppose, isn't it? It's keeping the feet firmly on the ground and heads out of the clouds, and that's how you maintain a title charge.
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, with your junior development, did you have any players in the England under-13s that recently won in Quebec?
Good question. I think I remember seeing on one of the social media channels on Instagram, one of the Slough juniors was posting stuff from out there, so we must have had. We must have had. And on the junior page on Facebook, whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be on there. But yeah, I think we did have a few. Yeah,
these guys are 12, 13, so we're looking at 3-4 years before they can make a senior appearance.
Yeah.
Are they being looked at already? Is that being watched?
No, I think at that age, certainly sort of under 10s, under 12s, it's just all about having fun and letting them learn the game, and there shouldn't be any pressure about where they want to go and what they want to do. Have some aspirations, by all means. Have a goal that you want to play. You want to be one of the Jets when you grow up, but yeah, there's certainly no pressure for them to kind of perform to that level or to even kind of show the signs that Smith will know who is going to show a bit of promise and a bit of there's people that sort of talent identification is one thing he's really good at, so he will have his eye on people that he thinks he's doing really well. But we've seen it before where players throughout their junior career absolutely fly and flourish, and then they play senior hockey and it just doesn't happen. But we've also had it the flip side of that, where we've had players that have gone through the junior system and been sort of average Joe, kind of the grey person, good player, not outstanding but also not poor, and then they hit senior hockey and they just absolutely fly. So yeah, it's funny how it works, but yeah, there's no pressure at that age for the kids to have to perform and sort of have an eye on the Jets. If it happens, it happens, and if and when it does, we'll give them every opportunity. But yeah, no stress.
Well, with the Jets this year, the additions that you made this year have really had a good effect. With sort of Ben Ely Newman, Brandon Miles, Alex Cole, and more recently Neil Lydiard.
Yeah.
The young guys indeed, particularly the likes of Jacob Minter and the young guys you've got there that come through, they must be sucking everything up of Neil Lydiard.
Exactly right. He's just so calm on the puck. He's just, before he even receives the puck, he knows what he wants to do with it. He's very much a stay-at-home defenseman. And yeah, the young guys, he's been playing a lot with Jude Affleck, one of our under-18s. So that sort of experience for Jude is invaluable, and it's definitely helped. You can see kind of, Jude's a lot calmer on the puck. He's got a lot more composure. And that can only be a good thing, right? And you've got to look at Lids when he's throwing himself around, blocking shots left, right, and centre at 46 years old. That can't help but be infectious. You see, as a sort of 18, 19, even 20-year-old, you see a guy who's twice, almost 3 times as old as you, throwing himself around, blocking shots. It can't help but sort of pump you up a little bit and make you want to do the same thing. So yeah, great guy, really good guy in the room as well. Really good guy in the room.
Yeah, I've heard that from anyone who's ever played with him, that he's, people just want to sit next to him and talk to him about jumping in front of pucks.
Yeah, good guy.
And obviously the other guys that you've had come in, I've kind of noticed as well. For anyone who doesn't follow, on Instagram, Wayne's account is Slough Jets BTS, and there's a few bits from like the changing room and the gym and recovery and stuff like that. And it's something I really wanted to talk to you about, because considering how Slough are doing this season and how seriously a lot of your top players are taking their gym and their recovery. And I've seen, is it Smith's Garage that's got a bit of gym equipment in, and you see a few guys in there?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that's really important. He won't thank me for it because he doesn't do it for any kind of a recognition. But when you've got a head coach that is opening up his own house for his players and for the juniors, it's open for everyone. It's not just the seniors, to go and work out with him. and he'll give you the right workout at the right time to work on the area that you need to work on. I think that's very rare. I don't know of another club in the country where that happens, and that just shows how much investment Smiths is putting into this. That gym was kitted out by himself. Like, he's paid for all that. No one else. The club hasn't paid for it. It's his own gym that he uses, and his two boys, Matt and Luke, use. But yeah, he's just all in on it, and it's just we are so lucky, so unbelievably lucky at Slough. And the boys, the seniors, we have Brando in there, Benny. I think they've now moved over to, I think it's Rich Harris, the lad from Invicta. They're working out with Rich, probably a bit closer for them geographically. And Rich is very good at what he does, very, very good at what he does. But yeah, the gym thing and the conditioning thing is just, it's just all on the players. They know what they need to do. A classic example actually would be, he won't thank me for this, but Lewis last season, Lewis English, had, by his own standards and by his own admission, we've spoken about it, not a great season, certainly points-wise. And in the summer, he knuckled down. Smith said to him, look, I want you back on the team, but this is what you need to do. And he went away, and credit to Lewis, he smashed out the summer in the gym, came back, and he's on 10 times the amount of points that he scored in the entire season last year. So I think when you can see that tangible evidence that what you're doing is paying off, it just pumps you up to go even further and do even more. And other people see it and think, God, this guy's really putting it in and he's putting numbers up. Yeah, maybe I should really kind of get my ass in the gym a bit more.
Yeah.
Conor Redmond, another guy, is just unreal. He works out with Rich as well, and he's a different player this year. Different player, absolutely flying.
Yeah, I think I've talked myself into a session with Rich Harris.
Have you actually?
I think I'm going to regret, yeah.
Mate, I'm sure you follow him on Instagram, but some of the stuff that he does is just, it's insane.
Yeah, we were talking when I was in Spain for a week in January. I think I'd shared out one of his videos saying, look at Rich keeping the rest of the league in fighting fit shape.
Yeah.
And we started chatting, and I'd had a couple of beers, and I think I ended up agreeing to a session.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to come and do it in my gym here in Colchester rather than me going to...
Oh, okay. I guess he's a London guy, is he?
He's in Fulham, I think.
Fulham?
His gym is in Fulham, yeah.
Right, okay.
So that'll certainly be interesting. And I think if we do that, we're going to film it and do an episode that way. So that will be more embarrassing for me than...
Has Rich been on the podcast?
He hasn't yet. No, that'll be his appearance. I think is ripping the arse out of me.
That'll be people will love to see that, mate.
But I was just say the gym work fantastic. But when you've got these 2-game weekends playing to the intensity level that Slough are playing, the recovery is so key. Is it?
Mate,
do they wish they lived a bit closer to Colsey so they go and use his?
Go and use his facilities. Yeah, some setup he's got there, eh? So it's whilst cracking it out in the gym is great, but there's so much more to it. It's the whole eating well in between games, eating the right stuff at the right time, not overloading, but eating the right amount of food at the right amount. I don't need to tell you with your background, not eating 3 times a day, but eating small meals and getting plenty of rest. It's a big thing. It's a big issue that I have personally as a dad of a 17-year-old hockey player who's trying to make it into the Jets team. He's trying to get it through to him that the rest is as important as the stuff you do on the ice and off the ice. The rest and the sleep is just as important. Good balance of everything. And the guys know they can pick up the phone to Smiths at any point and just get some advice. And it's like having a Bible of hockey expertise that you can draw on. And the guys are just kind of using all that to their advantage. It's just great to see. Like, everyone just buys into it. And I mentioned it earlier, but everyone's brought into it. The whole process, the whole regime, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Yeah. So far it certainly is. So with your role as the equipment manager, I think were you also listed as assistant general manager as well, or is that... I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that came from. That just appeared on what's it called, Elite Prospect thing. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what that is or where that came from. Maybe I think you have to have some sort of a title, but we do. I think there's a lot of people that do a lot of stuff at the club, but the equipment manager role is brilliant. I love it. There's not many people that can get up close and personal to the guys in that environment, in their environment, because that locker room is their space where they can come in and they can get themselves ready for training or practice or whatever it is, and I think if I was to sum up the equipment manager role, it's to make sure that the guys have got everything they need in order so that they can go and do their job on the ice. So the last thing they need to be worried about are my skates sharp? Is my visor clear? Is my kit going to fall apart? Have I got enough sticks? It's just you're the guy that kind of brings it all together and makes sure they've got everything they need in order to be able to perform at the level that they need to perform at. And I think that's kind of it, really. That sums it up.
So, I mean, on them having everything they need, in the last couple of years, there's been a couple of trips to Solent where you guys have arrived with a few things that they did need and did not have.
Yes, yeah. Funny enough, it was Solent both times, wasn't it?
It was Solent both times, yeah. I think the first time
we brought this thing in this season. I think it was the first season we did it. I don't think we did it last year, where every player takes the jerseys home and washes them every week. It rotates round. I didn't know anything about that actually until the first kind of game of the season, and then they said, "Oh, Dylan, you're number 3, so you're up first." And yeah, it's quite nice actually. It just gives the guys a bit of responsibility and a bit of it's just good fun really. But it's good fun until it goes really wrong when you forget the jerseys or you take the wrong colour jerseys. But I'm not gonna name who it was because it just embarrassed Jacob Minter.
Was that the first time, was it, when you went with no jerseys?
I don't know what happened the first time, actually, to be fair. That was no jerseys. The second time we went with white when we should have gone with blue.
Yeah, so the first period was played with you both wearing white. What was that like?
I wasn't there, so I wasn't there for that game. And that's not me, like, playing shoulders.
Admonishing yourself completely.
No, it's not. No. It was, I wasn't there. But I can imagine that was interesting, to say the least. I'm not sure where we, like, stood on a rule league basis, but it went ahead, and I think by the second period they had the jerseys back, and
I think
normality was restored.
I think Solent wore their away jerseys.
Oh, did they? So it wasn't. Oh, that's it. Yeah, they had to go and get them from the jerseys weren't on the rink, were they? That's it.
Yeah, which I think Musk told me they normally are, and just for this one occasion they weren't at the rink.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect a team to turn up with. Well, they probably will now. Obviously, expect us to turn up. Well, blue, white, who knows? Maybe nothing. We'll see.
Well, I mean, the reason I ask about it is I know a lot of Solent fans considered it to be on purpose as a mind trick.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team in the entire world that would do that with Lucas Smitten as their head coach.
Twice.
And deliberately turn up with the wrong colour jerseys, or it's just unfortunate. It's going to assure you it certainly wasn't. It wasn't a deliberate mind trick. There are many mind tricks you can play, but not bringing the right jerseys or bringing any jerseys is definitely not one of them. I think you'll find hockey players are creatures of habit, right?
Yeah.
Like they want things the same all the time. So not having a set of jerseys would have mind melted a few people. Few players.
Probably had more of a detrimental effect to the Jets.
Yeah, I don't think it would have had the effect of mind games. Maybe the reverse, but
there's certain chumps for players that when they come out and do the warm up, they sort of will always say hello to me. But if I'm somewhere different, it's a bit like, why are you not?
Well, hold up, hang on. Yeah.
It's normally sit.
It fascinates me. We haven't got that many. I don't think some of them you don't even notice. There's a couple on the bench, so there's a couple on the bench. There's one, so Sebi Moore will bring his 2 sticks to the bench, and then I'll pick which one he starts to warm up with. That's just our little thing. Ollie Hemmings-Mayer will have a drink out of a water bottle, then give me a drink out of the water bottle, and then we'll fist bump and off he goes, and that's just our little thing. And it's quite cool. I don't mind it. It's quite funny.
Yeah, as you say, creatures of habit, and some of their habits are quite bizarre.
Yeah, there are a few.
I mean, has your son picked up any of them as yet?
I don't think so. No, he doesn't have to do much. His mum does it all for him. But so I'm trying to think. Has he got any habits? No, he likes his skates nice and sharp. But some players don't, which is I think some people would be surprised that we have players that want their skates sharpened not after every practice. There's no one like that, but every week definitely. And there's other players that will, like Luke Smittle, will go through like 2 or 3 months. And then he'll start falling over, and I'll go, probably should put your skates on the machine, mate. And he'll go, yeah, okay, no worries. But yeah, we have. There's nobody in Slough. You hear these horror stories of people that are like absolute divas in locker rooms, and the room in Slough has been set up and picked. Players have been picked to be exactly not that. It's a really good room, like a really, really good room. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, keeping it harmonious all the way.
Yeah, no disruption. Yeah, it's good fun.
So, I mean, obviously, you're with your son getting into it was it through your involvement within the game?
No. So, I met Louise, my partner, in 2015, and they were just starting out at Bracknell, where I was with Smiths. So I started off my equipment manager career at Bracknell with Lucas with Smiths, and Louise and Alex, my son, and my other son Ben, stepson if you like, but they might as well be sons. They all started at Bracknell. They were not long been playing, I don't think, and they used to go and watch the bees. And they come over to the door for sort of fist bumps at the locker room as the players came out, and I kind of noticed them, and I gave one of them a puck one week, I think, and then got one of the players to sign it, and we got talking, and the rest, as they say, is history. So that's how they started. And then when Smiths left Bracknell, we didn't hesitate to go with him to Slough, and he said to me, you know, are you going to come to Slough with me? And I said, absolutely, no question. I'd love to. And I can remember our first, it was the year when Slough were in the tent. Do you remember?
No.
The year before, so the rink
came in.
Okay, so the rink went under a massive refurbishment. Like they literally stripped it back to the framework, and they put us a lovely temporary rink in the car park. But it was literally a training rink size inside a tent, which was great. Fine, it served the purpose. And when Smiths and I turned up for our first ever session, we rolled into the car park, parked up, and we went together and jumped into the rink, and we walked into a junior session where there was the coach was over talking to one of the parents on the side of the rink. The goalie was doing snow angels in the crease. There was a punch up in one corner, another punch up in another corner, and we both just looked at each other and kind of went like, "What is all this about?" But yeah, that was good fun in the tent. I enjoyed it. It was it's quirky. Those are the things you remember. You know what I mean? When you look back on your career, or whatever you want to call it, in hockey, those are the things you remember, like the hard times, and it was hard. But yeah, so that's how we ended up. That's how Alex ended up at Slough, and he's progressed through the ranks, if you like, and he's knocking on the door now of the senior team.
I mean, so starting, especially with having two doing it, you were more than aware of the cost of all the equipment.
Oh my mate!
It's do you not like spare money and spare time?
I don't like spare money. I don't like spare time. I'd rather be poor and spend my life freezing my you-know-what off at an ice rink. Yeah, it's and I joke about it, but it is getting a little bit out of hand, I think. But also on the flip side of that, production, manufacturing costs have gone through the roof. Shipping costs have gone from sort of 5,000 for a 30-foot container from China to the UK to sort of 28,000. And that cost has got to be absorbed somewhere, because that's going to get charged to the... so when Bauer, Warrior, CCM are importing sticks into the country, they'll go to a European facility first. So normally Sweden is CCM and Warrior, I think, are both Sweden. Maybe even Bauer, actually. And then the UK will order its sticks from there. And that's where the UK sort of get their stock of sticks from. But that cost of that shipping container that's gone up sort of 300-400%, has got to be absorbed by someone, and that's going to be absorbed by CCM, or they're going to pass on that cost to the person that's buying the sticks. So yeah, we're now north of 300 quid for a top of the range stick, which is just it blows my mind. It's bonkers. And the thing is that they're so good with their marketing now. You look at CCM with McDavid, with Austin Matthews, Bauer, Patrick Kane, and all the other guys. Warrior with Leon Draisaitl. And they're so good at their marketing now. The kids see it and they go, God, if I get that stick, I'll play like Leon Draisaitl. Of course you won't. But they don't know that. And then they're putting pressure on the parents, and the parents are like, oh, my kids have the best possible start in their hockey career. And you've got like 10-year-olds running around with 200-pound sticks, and it's just like, nah. It's not the one. Spend money on the right things, and there are areas where you should spend money, and areas where you don't really need to. And sticks are definitely an area where you don't need to. So
for you, the money's better off in the safety and protection equipment.
100%, exactly. Helmet and shorts, elbow pads, shin pads, shoulders or chest, whatever you want to call it, are pretty much going to be the same for a junior player until they sort of start reaching sort of 16, 17 and playing under 18s. But the shorts with their sternum protection, lower back protection, and a good quality helmet are where you should be spending your money.
Yeah, and obviously, as you say, the big brands getting the likes of McDavid, Matthews, and Draisaitl and all that, that's not free.
No, mate, they're on a lot of money. Yeah,
they're paying an awful lot of money to have those advertised.
Yeah, frightening amounts of money. I can imagine are changing hands. But yeah,
is it something that perhaps someone in Britain needs to look at to actually start their own supply chain in this country?
So there are sort of agents, if you like, in the UK. So we've got 60/30 Sports, which is CCM. They're based in Swindon. You've got Blue Line Sports, which is also in Swindon, weirdly enough, which is Warrior, and a load of other brands, Warrior, Sherwood, Winwell. That's all out of Blue Line Sports. And they will then order their stuff from CCM in Sweden or whatever it is, where it comes from. It'll come into the UK, and then they'll distribute it to the shops, the retailers, like your hockey stations, and then your teams can also get a preferential price on equipment. But it's not as good as it used to be. Let's put it that way. And you've only got to look at Bauer now. You know what? Custom Bauer skates, £1,400. You could buy a car for that much money. It's just nuts. Absolutely nuts.
So, I mean, I'm trying to think now. Imagine how much money is actually sitting behind the bench when you're on the bench there with the.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's I remember a couple of years ago or a few years ago. I don't know if it was Leeds had all their stuff nicked. Do you remember? Did you ever read about it?
Yeah, I think I do remember hearing about that.
Before it was Leeds Knights, they had all their stuff in a container. Or was it? Yeah, it was in a container or a vehicle or whatever, and they had loads of like sticks, skates, and all sorts of stuff nicked. And that hurts. Like that, you know, even a top of the range stick, £300 off the shelf, the team is still paying £200 for that stick plus. So they lose 10 of those. You know, it stings. It absolutely stings.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, the last thing clubs want to do as well is start putting the admission price up because
exactly,
you know, it's only so high that can go before people start saying, actually, you know what,
it's too much.
It's too much, yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. We've never been a big budget for equipment kind of team at Slough. We've had a lot more. I say a lot more. We've had a bit more this year to spend, thanks to the work that the people behind the scenes at Slough are doing to get people through the door. But we're by no means a big budget team at all. Not every player gets equipment. Not every player gets sticks by a long way. So yeah, for some of the teams, like even in the National League, like your Leeds, Sheffields, Milton Keynes, I mean, their budgets are going to be north of probably 50 grand, I should imagine. I'd be surprised if it was less than that.
Yeah.
And then when you go up to the Elite League, you can probably times that by 4 as well.
Yeah. I'll say on equipment alone, it must be astonishing. I know someone was putting together something about the 5 Flyers and looking at how much it would actually cost
to take it over,
keep them in the Elite League and take it over, and it's an astonishing amount of money.
Yeah, frightening amount of money. When you look at wages, salary, because salary is always works out net in hockey. So if a player's on, let's say, £500 a week, that's £500 in their account. That's not 500, then you take tax off it and national insurance. It goes and that's what they get. Equipment, housing, transport, not to mention things like registration, ICTs. It's like £1,000 a time to register an import, just to even get them permission to come and play in the country. £1,000. It's a frightening amount of money actually, and I don't know what the future holds for Fife. I've been following it a little bit because there's a lot of heritage in Fife. They're one of the older teams, I think, in the country, if not one of the oldest.
Yeah, one of the oldest, if not the oldest.
Yeah, so I'll be following that closely. But I hope they can find a way to stay in the Elite League.
Yeah, I think so. I think a drop to the National League will create a bit of a tension on the National Ice Hockey League structure, having 2 Scottish sides.
2 Scottish teams. Yeah, but again, imagine the fallout from that, right? So you've got teams in the lower half of that league or the bottom half of that league. So your Bees, Bristols, Telfords now having to go to Scotland times 2. Everything they do. So what they play twice. So they play twice in Scotland if there's one team. Right now there's 4 different trips to Scotland. They might get a double header. I don't know how it works, if I'm perfectly honest. But a bus ride to Scotland from the south is going to be 4 figures comfortably. There's lots of things that people don't think about. It's like, just let them drop to the National League. But the fallout from that is far, that ripple effect. It's far reaching. So I hope they can figure it out. But what the future holds for them, I don't know. I'll be following it. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, with the National League, then, as you say, going to sort of like the lower end of the National League, there's of course a National League team also playing in your rink in Slough.
There is.
That you were formerly a part of in Bracknell, I suppose, but now they've.
They're nothing like the team that Smits and I left. We left a team called the Bracknell Bees with their own rink in Bracknell, and they're now Berkshire Bees.
Yes, Berkshire Bees. Yeah.
Playing out of Slough. It's not the same. Not the same. I don't even think that the people that were involved when we were at Bracknell are even still involved. It's a completely different entity now.
Yeah. I mean, with the two of you playing out of the same rink, I know there's been a lot of talk of perhaps some of your younger players having two-way action with the Bees to avoid the long travelling. I know the Moore boys have been playing at Romford this year for the Raiders.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of animosity, we could say, possibly between the two clubs. I mean, from your point of view, where does Slough Jets sit on that?
I mean, I wouldn't want to be. I'm certainly not a spokesman for Slough Jets by any stretch, but I can kind of put a few things to rest, and that is the two-way thing. Was frustrating because it was a comment made by one of the Bees players, I think, that kind of blamed Slough for the reason why they only had 13 players go into an away game, and Slough should be. I can't remember exactly what was said. And for me personally, like if I see a comment like that that's factually incorrect, then I feel like it should be addressed. And the post that I put on Instagram was purely to go, actually, that's not how it works. That's untrue because it's not, don't kind of knocking our club a little bit, and it's not how it works. So with regards to two ways, how it actually works is that it's all led by the player. So the players know, right, whether they're good enough to play National League. Sometimes people think they are and they're not, but that'll be a conversation between them and Smits, and they will literally say, Smits, can you help me find a two-way somewhere? Or do you think I'm ready for a two-way with the National League? And he will say, yep, I think you're absolutely ready. Where do you want to play? Not this is where you can't play, but where do you want to play?
Yeah.
And then, or he'll say, you know what, give it another year, and let's work on a few things, and then we'll look at it next year. But the player will then go, I don't know, look at Chris and Seb at Romford, because they know a lot of the guys at Romford.
Yeah.
They know a lot of the players. It makes sense for them. If they don't want to play at Bees, that's their choice. And we live in a country where you are able to make that choice. So, yeah, it's all led by the players. If they want to play for Romford, then Smits will help them. If they want to play for MK, he'll help them. If they want to play for Bees, he'll help them. And what the thing that stung the most is you've actually got one of our players playing for the Bees, Ollie Hemmings-Mayer.
Yeah.
Hemmings-Maher. Sorry, I keep pronouncing his name wrong. I should read it out right.
That's new as well. So I'll try to get that right in the future.
It's Maher. Yes, Ollie Hemmings-Maher, not Mayer. So when they're saying like, Smits is stopping players from going to the Bees, well, you've actually got one of our players, so that's obviously not true. So if the other guys don't want to go to the Bees, that's their choice.
Yeah. And whilst we're on ever so slightly uncomfortable subjects, a lot of Slough fans ask me, you have 9 out of 10 coaches' thoughts from the league on the podcast. Why don't you have Slough? And I say to them, I don't know. I've asked, but
who have you asked?
I've emailed the club and messaged the club on Instagram. I think I've spoken to Natalie.
Right. Okay.
And asked to could you put it to Smits if Smits wants to do this? If he doesn't, I'm more than happy for it to be caught.
So have you ever actually asked Smits?
I've never actually spoken to him, no.
I'll get you his number.
Oh, really? That would be massively appreciated, because when I get asked, I always have to say, look, I don't know. That people say, is there beef? I'm like, there's no beef at all. Slough welcomed me as a guest to one of their games. I had a fantastic time with them.
Absolutely.
It's a great bunch of people. I said, but I've done what I've done with everybody else. I've messaged the club and said, would you mind providing this? It's not a media obligation. I'm an independent outlet. If you want to do it,
I think it's quite funny now that we're the only team that doesn't it's like a bit of a thing now, isn't it? It's like,
it has been,
started doing it now, it look a bit weird.
But yeah, fans have messaged me asking, saying why. I was like, I don't know.
It would be good to get his thoughts, actually. Or maybe even if it's not Smith's, then maybe one of the other, maybe Connor. Well, yeah, didn't Connor do one once?
Connor came on last year to preview the cup final.
Right, okay.
Again, I had asked for Smith's because Paints was coming on from Streatham to do it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and I've always said to people, do you know, this is not an obligation for anybody to do it. And there's absolutely no beef whatsoever. So
it would be, I think, it would be a kind of step outside his comfort zone. But,
yeah, to be honest, that's what I've heard. That he's, you know, public speaking wise, perhaps privately is not, really his thing. But it's especially because, and not just because Jets have been doing really, really well this year. I know that that's something in the podcast that the fans really enjoy, is hearing that insight.
Yeah. Let me see what I can do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love it for the Smiths to come on the podcast and tell people his thoughts on hockey and stuff and what he's doing at Slough himself. But yeah, I'm not sure that might be a step too far. But we'll start maybe with a match night review.
Yeah, if we start slow, and then eventually maybe I can come to Slough, sit down with him, and we can talk through his illustrious time in hockey.
Well, that'll be some story, mate.
I can imagine it will. I mean, as we move towards the end of this season now, sort of 6 games left in the league, and then we've got the playoffs. Yeah. How are you guys viewing the playoffs then? Because I quite like this new setup for this year. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, it's okay, it's fine. I mean, I still prefer a longer series. Personally, me being sat here right now, I'd love like a best of 3 or best of 5 series. But I just don't know if there's. I don't know how. Well, I don't know why that wouldn't be a good thing. I can't think of a reason why it wouldn't.
I think ice time is possibly the only reason. I know that's why it was, because originally this season it was announced to be top 6, and then going into 2 groups of 3.
Yeah.
And then almost like 2 weeks into the season, it was like, actually, you know what, we're not going to get the ice time.
Top 8.
Yeah. But at least now you're getting the semi-final is being a home and away leg, because I know a lot of the owners were sort of saying we're missing out on quite a lot of income from not having.
I just think, don't you think it's sad that ice time is a factor that stops the...
it's the one thing that shouldn't be a problem, really.
Yeah, right. It shouldn't. I just find it incredibly sad that, I think that'd be great. A best of 5 series would be unbelievable, where you can really get stuck into 2 teams battling it out to sort of progress to the next round. And I know we always use the NHL as a benchmark, rightly or wrongly, but to have a longer series, I think would be brilliant. I mean, I'm not sure what the players think about it. I mean, that's a question they'd have to answer themselves. But I'd love to see a best of 5 series. I think it'd be fantastic for hockey.
I mean, something that, because obviously the difference in that to the way it gets done, I witnessed over the weekend with the cup final, that when it's aggregate scores rather than just winning the game, obviously the goals come into it more than the performance then.
They do.
So that makes a massive difference, because you could kind of, if you were just not having a good game, you could be like, you know what, we can write this one off and then tomorrow we go and win.
Yeah.
But where it's on aggregate scores, you can't afford to do that. You've got
No, that's right. And I think if it was a best of 5, there's no... You can have a bad night and still not get away with it. That's the wrong word, but you can have an off night and still have a chance to kind of progress. But if you turn up or don't turn up even at a game, the first leg, and you end up 4 or 5 goals down, it's almost impossible. Not impossible, as we've seen. Was it you guys that pulled it back against?
Oh, again, in the semi-final from the
that was some performance, wasn't it? So it's not impossible, but it does. I mean. Yeah, I'd love to see a longer format. I just don't know if it's ever going to happen. But I'd be interested to see what the players think about that.
Yeah, a lot of the ones I've spoken to are quite excited about the idea of playing a final in Sheffield and having a national playoff final champion.
The same weekend.
Yeah, all in the same weekend, which is something actually that I discussed with, I think it was Graham Hamilton, who hosts the Hawks Talk podcast for Blackburn Hawks.
Right, okay.
Because they won the playoffs last year. And with Chelmsford winning them last year, we said post-season, wouldn't it be great if at the start of the season there was a challenge game between the North and the South playoffs?
Yeah, right.
And then this playoff format was announced. So we think we may have had something to do with it.
Yeah, right.
But no,
Racing ground, mate.
well, we put a little post out on our Instagram asking people who do you think will make the Sheffield final, and Jets and Chieftains was the biggest vote by a long, long way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think make the finals. Yeah. So I don't think the playoffs are even in our mind at the minute. I think we've got business to attend to first.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then once the season ends and we know where we're at and who we're playing and what's going to happen, then we'll start to focus on other things. But yeah, right now it's head down, business as usual, flat out on the finish the league off and see what happens.
And as I say, as we move through the end of this season and into the next season, which, as we say, could be off the back of an extremely successful year, it's a massive year for the Jets next year with the 40th anniversary.
Huge year, yeah, 40 years, 40th anniversary. So there's some things planned. I think it'd be good to perhaps get another one of these lined up before the start of the season, because we'll have a better idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And things. It's going to be good. It's going to be really cool. It's a big milestone, and it will be celebrated. You've seen it at Slough now. We've got all the retired numbers up at one end of the ring. It looks really smart. And the heritage and the history is a massive part of Slough. Massive part. And people like Brandon, we didn't really touch on that. We spoke about it earlier when we spoke about players that are sort of joining the club for the new season. Brandon is just all in. Absolutely all in. He's a Slough boy, grew up here, and he's all in. He'll be really keen for this to be a big thing, as the rest of the boys will, and the rest of the club. But I'm interested to see what they come up with. There's planning stuff already going on now about what's going to happen. But I'd be excited to get some cool stuff. There'll be a special logo for sure. Maybe bring back one of the retro jerseys, because they were a roaring success.
They were
the green ones.
That was a cracking jersey, the green
one.
That
was so good, and that was Matt Parsons' idea, and that's a name that many people won't be familiar with, and he will not thank me for mentioning him. But Matt and Smiths basically run the show at Slough, and Matt is just a hell of a brain, hell of a mind, and he's really, along with Smiths, turned the club around into a profitable, successful. Behind the scenes, on ice product is fine, and Smith takes care of what happens on the ice. But off the ice is all Matt, with obviously some help as well. But Matt's idea of the green jersey is the retro one, and we spent a bit of time getting it right. And to get comments from other players as well, other teams saying, "Oh, those jerseys look sick," and it's good. They're one of my favourites for sure. I
saw you playing them twice in that year.
Oh yeah,
they looked incredible. And then I had a real nice experience actually where. I also produce a podcast for Nick Rothwell, who runs the Stick Together tribe on Facebook for the people that have played in this country. And he interviewed Martin Genoway, who's a old school Jets legend from back in the sort of late 80s, I think.
Yeah, way back.
And he actually has his original green jersey.
No way.
He brought it out on the screen.
That's decent.
And then I sent him the picture of the one you guys were wearing, and you got it spot on.
Really? Oh, good. That's good. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's always a bit of an unknown when we order jerseys. We've got our own private jersey designer at Slough, Mr. Goodchild, Senior, Jack's dad.
Yeah, Darren's a good
man. He's come up with some. He actually designed. I think he designed this year's jerseys.
This year's away one, the blue one, I think. Wasn't
blue
it?
One was his idea with the band and just the shrunk Jets logo, just the word Jets.
Yeah.
That was one of his. He's come up with a 40th logo. Looks really good. And I know he's already head down looking at some jersey designs as well. So it'll be good. Whatever happens, it'll be good.
Yeah, I did tell him the next one he designs, he's got to get me one with 0 and pucks given on the back of it.
Yeah, ZPG. Yeah, no, we can certainly do that, mate. We can certainly do that. I need to get a few jerseys on the wall in the background there.
Yeah, I've got a couple in frames, but I would love to, if I could afford it, I'd love to own and loan one from every club and have them all hanging up.
How cool would that be?
But yeah, I mean, you're probably talking the best part of £1,000 for me.
Yeah, that's a big investment, mate.
all for a backdrop.
Yeah, right. It would look good, though.
It will look good. It will, I'm sure. Well, Wade, thank you so much for your time, man. Giving me nearly an hour of your time this evening.
No problem at all, mate.
It's been a real pleasure just to chat hockey with you. It's obviously something that takes up an awful lot of your time that you must enjoy, otherwise you just simply...
Love it. Absolutely love it, mate. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. It's just a lot of fun, you know. Slough's a great place. The room's brilliant. and the boys make it an absolute pleasure for me to do my job, which is basically to help them out, and they're very grateful. They're younger guys in the main, and they're just really grateful for everything they get, and it's just a great place to be.
Yeah, now from whenever you guys have visited Chelmsford, it's always really nice interactions with your fans. When I've been down to your rink, it was fantastic. As I say, I do love the setup down there. I love the way it's all working. Some really good guys as well. I speak to Brando quite regularly, actually. I think he's a fabulous guy, and he just loves his hockey so much.
I think he's so misunderstood. I think the fans see this one side, this one player that goes around beating the brakes off people, and that wasn't the reason why we signed him at all. Yeah, he obviously brings an element of toughness to the team and an element of physicality, but he can play the game.
Oh yeah.
And interestingly enough, we did a kind of not a skills session. It was we were helping out a guy who was doing his thesis for university, and we had to sprints over half the ice, so from goal line to red line, or even goal line to blue line, over a short period. And Brando was the fastest, so he beat players like Sebi, Jack, Chris, Ollie, Dylan, literally blew him out the flipping rink.
Yeah,
as the fastest skater. And people don't see that; they just see Brandon Miles, he's going to go and knock your head off. But
yeah, when he was on here, he kind of almost said that that's one of the reasons he came on, is he wanted to get that across. That
nice guy.
And I'd said to him as well during that time, this is where I want people to understand that you are not just an enforcer, you are a fucking good hockey player.
I just don't think that teams can afford to have that out and out enforcer role anymore. It's kind of if anything, it's a hybrid enforcer / skater / got to be able to put the puck in the net. You've got to be able to play as well. You just can't. It's a roster space that you just can't afford to. If you want to succeed, you just can't afford to have someone who's just going to go out there and beat the brakes off someone every night and be banned every 5 minutes. You need to have someone who can play, and he can.
And a couple of weeks ago, I think he did it all in one night. I think he scored.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got the Gordie Howe, I think.
And he nearly had his eye torn out in a good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was a good tilt actually. It was funny because when you noticed it when Robin, they had the first fight in Chelmo, wasn't it? It was in your place, and he threw a lot of sort of punches around the side and up. And the one time he went over the top was the one time that he caught him right on the button and popped his eye. It popped his eyebrow, but that's not going to stop him. That's for sure.
No,
he couldn't, did it?
No, he got stitched up and he got straight back on the ice.
Back out there, mate. Yeah, he's an absolute warrior. Love him to bits. He's a great kid.
But it's a testament to a lot of the guys that play there, and to be fair, a lot of the guys that just play in this league in general.
Yeah, I agree.
We did see in the cup final on Sunday 3 injuries from people literally throwing their head in the way of the puck to get in the way of it. I think Dan Fay nearly lost an ear on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was an awful lot of blood, and it was bright red blood as well. It was very, very, very fresh.
It's horrible, mate. Anything neck and upwards is going to bleed a hell of a lot. So, it's good. I mean, that's the thing we've not even touched on, the whole medical side of it. That's a whole nother.
You know what? I was going to ask, because I was speaking to someone the other night about it, and I don't know what your physios can get or what they're allowed to get. I know if you're a boxing cut man, you have access to neat adrenaline.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing for stopping blood. But for instance, with that Brando injury after the fight, how on earth did they clear the blood up, stop it from bleeding, and get it together enough for him to go back on?
It was with that kind of injury, which is more of a rip than a straight cut. It's like when the punch hits the skin, it hits it and then it tears it, and it's not a straight cut. If you imagine a knife wound, really easy to repair, really easy to fix. But a rip is a lot harder. So he went straight to the room. Natalie, our first aider, went straight in behind him. And in that situation, it's just about making sure that there's enough there to stop the bleeding. Make sure that he's okay, because concussion's a real thing. We're really hot on that in Slough. And then back out. But it was the nature of the injury that was tricky, because it was quite wide. It was a tear rather than a cut, so it was just a bit of not a bodge job. That's a bit disrespectful, but it was a fix it, patch it, and get it enough so we can last the rest of the game, and then straight to hospital for stitches. We haven't. So I can stitch, but because my background is in the fire service and medical stuff, and I've done other stuff on the side. But to be able to stitch on site is a different ball game. I know Tanya at Streatham can. She definitely can. And there's not many people in the league that can kind of do that level of repair at the rink. Normally, you'd be set out and straight to hospital to get it stitched up. But yeah, I mean, he was gonna come on whether his face was hanging off. He was going out regardless. There was no way he was missing any hockey. And I think he missed a couple of shifts. It wasn't long at all, but he was back out there. And then he got a puck to the knee. About 30 seconds later, we were on the power. I think we were on the not the penalty kill. Because he wouldn't be on the penalty kill, but he took an absolute clapper to the knee. I think from one of the Bartletts, And if they shoot and it hits you, it's going to hurt. And he took one to the knee as well, or to the thigh, and came off the bench screaming. And then 10 minutes later, he was back out there again. It's just an absolute warrior, mate. Absolute warrior.
Honestly, I've got nothing but respect for every single one of them guys that put skates on, goes out there, and these guys have got full-time jobs, they've got families, and they're going out there and literally putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment.
100%, 100%. We're eternally grateful to all of them, but I'd never tell them that.
I don't mind blowing smoke up their arse. It's kind of part of my job.
Yeah, right. It's good, mate. It's I agree. It's when you've got guys that have got to go to work, especially in like customer-facing roles the next day, they've got eyes out here, face like, you're like, oh god. But I think Brando works. I think he's a rigger or something. He works in. He was always posting pictures of being up high. So so I think he works in rigging and stuff for like film sets and other stuff. So hopefully he doesn't have to do too much client-facing work.
No, but I think he, to his own admission, I think after I spoke to him when he was playing for Streatham, actually, and I spoke to him really briefly at Milton Keynes at the playoff final, and I asked him, why on earth have you had your teeth done?
Oh, okay, yeah, I think that has been noticed a couple of times.
You're still playing. Why have you gone and had your teeth done while you're still playing?
Oh, he's a handsome boy. He's got to look his best.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just one of the many characters that make the sport brilliant to watch.
Mate, 100%, and he is a character, and he can play the game as well, which is why he was brought in. It wasn't, he certainly wasn't brought in to goon it up. He can play the game, and you look at the points he's put up. I think he's on nearly 40 points this year already. So, he can play, mate, no doubt. Characters
in the game, I know the guys in the room at Slough will say that you're certainly one of those characters in the game that make it worthwhile them coming. So I'd love to thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been just over an hour that you've given me. A really, really great.
It's an absolute pleasure, mate, and thank you for what you do, mate, for getting us out there.
Well, look, it's I was quite glad actually when I took the jump to cover the whole league. It was covering Chelmsford. It was terrific when I sort of came up with the idea, but to kind of really grow it and get it out there, it's for the greater good of the game that I do it. Really,
100%. It doesn't go unnoticed, mate. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, and it'll be lovely to hear from Smits at some point.
I won't promise anything, but I'll see what I can do.
Wayne, thank you so much for your time, fella.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
We forgot a little snippet, and he thought he got away with it. But I did have some questions that came in, because obviously we've had to move this episode because of a family emergency for Wayne. We're not going to let him get away with it. We have got some questions.
Oh, God.
Smits Jr. 32, which I'm going to say is Luke, going by that number. How are you so handsome?
Oh, it's an ongoing struggle, mate. How am I so handsome? I don't know about that, mate, but I appreciate the kind words either way. But yeah, I think that's more sarcasm than anything else. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate that, buddy.
Well, he always strikes me as a sarcastic lad, actually. He's kind of...
He's a good kid, mate. He's a really good kid.
If he plays for your team, you love him. If he doesn't play for your team, you hate him.
Brad Marchand, mate. He's a Brad Marchand. That's the way I look at him. He runs around going through people and being a pain in the arse, but you'd want him on your team every day of the week. Yeah. Yeah, he's certainly to play against. He's a right little pain in the arse. I got one from It's Loza. What's your favourite part of working with the Jets? That's a great question. Favourite part of working with the Jets is being around the boys and being in that environment that not many people get to see. Obviously, the winning the games and the highs are great, but I know it sounds a little bit Hollywood, but you kind of learn more about people from the lows, the bits where you really struggle. Like last year in the playoff semi-finals at Ali Pali, some of the boys were just broken, absolutely broken. And I think you learn a lot about yourself, and I certainly learned a lot about myself that day when Chelmsford went to town on us in that semi-final, and it was tough, but you learn a lot. And being around people in those moments is an absolute privilege. Excellent stuff. I won't tell you who this one is. You'll have to guess. Who do you miss most from the Jets 23-24 team? That's going to be Ty Cathcart or Roman Cathcart.
Ty.
Was it? What a beauty! Yeah, they're both good guys. It was a shame when they moved on. And I say it every year. You know, people come, people go, and you do become close to some of the players, and you become mates rather than sort of, I work for them, but I'm also mates with them. And yeah, when they both moved on, it was that was a hard one. Good kids, really good guys.
Yeah, Roman. I'll speak with Roman not regularly, but we have spoken, and he's very self-aware.
Yeah,
for a young man,
for a young guy. Yeah, he's a smart kid actually. And he keeps scoring against us for Streatham. So if he could stop doing that, that'd be great.
I think he sent me a clip of something. I think he got quite a long ban for a boarding, and he sent me a clip of it. And he said, "Look, I know I'm a rat. I'm not a total dickhead."
Yeah, that's not his game. That's not his game at all. But he's thriving in Streatham. So I'm pleased.
He is doing terrific, and similar to Luke Smittle, when he's on the ice, he is a wind-up merchant.
Yeah, he's looking over your shoulder the whole time.
Everybody, and you need that player in a team.
You're absolutely right.
Izzy97 on Instagram. Do you think the Jets fans have an impact on how the boys play?
Yes, without a doubt. So I say it a lot in my Instagram posts. When we for some reason this year the Jets fans have travelled really well, really, really well. Home games are home games. We're busy pretty much every night of the week for home games, but even on the road is when it makes a huge difference. And the other week in Swindon, what was the score? 4-2, I think it was.
In the end, you were 2-0 down.
Yeah, we went down to a shorthander, 5-on-3, and then they had a nice goal, top cheese, 2-0, and then we pulled it back. And I think it was one of those games where you don't ever think the result is going to be in doubt, but it wasn't comfortable. We were in their end a lot. Like we had a lot of the puck, we just couldn't put it away.
Yeah, I think it was nearly 3-1. You outshot them on the night.
Yeah, it was. Their goalie Ben Clark-Leach was just getting absolutely peppered. But
I've been a lot more than 10-1. I think did they only have 6 shots and scored, or 5 shots and scored 2 goals?
I think they had 5 or 6 and scored 2. But it's hard, as a goalie, you're stood there, you don't face any shots, then boom, they come through, or you get a 5-on-3. It's hard. Nate was in the goal. He's got to try and stay warm and focus. It's difficult. When you're not facing many shots. But go back to the fan thing, even at Swindon, on a Sunday night at sort of 7, 8 o'clock at night in Swindon, and there was sort of, 50, 60, maybe even more fans there going for it. And it does make a difference, and the boys can hear it, and Connor Redmond is really good. If we're ever in a bit of a lull or we're ever in a bit of a dip, he'll be like, listen, boys, they're here for us. Let's get things going. And it does make a massive difference. So, yeah, in answer to Izzy's question, very much definitely does make a difference.
Alistair Galland wants to know, what's the secret for your luxurious beard?
Alistair. Oh, DJ Alistair. Secret to the beard. Do you know what? I've recently, you might be able to, beard oil. I'm a bit of a convert. I've never really been into it. But what a difference.
Yeah, I use oil and balm.
And balm. You obviously got it's a different class of beard grower in Essex. It just doesn't happen around here.
It's all grey. I know you're keeping the.
Well, wish mine was grey, mate. It wouldn't look so ginger.
But
beard oil has been a game changer. So
have you let Nate Gregory go near it?
No, I don't think I would. I think I'm a bit out of his league. In terms of he's out of my league, I don't think I'm worthy enough of a Nate Gregory cut.
Yeah, no, I did speak with Nate briefly, actually, and I sort of said, I could pop in the barbers when you're there, and we could just set the camera up and do an episode with you.
Do a podcast. That'd be pretty cool, actually. I'm sure you wouldn't mind doing that.
I mean, all you'd have to do is,
Yeah, mate, I'm the same. There's not a lot going on up there.
Just take a cutthroat to my head, and
yeah, that's it.
Then we'll be done. But no, it's beards is a thing. I mean, a lot of the guys are sporting tashes as well these days, which is an odd one.
Oh, mate, Jack Goodchild. How good does he look with a tash?
I mean, it's like he was born with it.
It's unreal, mate. Austin Matthews, I think, got his tash from Jack Goodchild. It suits some people, doesn't it? Some people look really good with facial hair, some people don't. And with a bald head, I think a bald head and a beard sets it off nicely. But yeah, beard oil, Alistair. Beard oil, mate.
Beard oil. Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of love for Alistair. I don't think he can grow a beard.
No, I don't think you could try one if you grow one if you tried. But yeah, good guy. He's our people are probably thinking who's Alistair. He was our match night DJ for a long time.
He retired at the Ali Pali finals. Actually,
he did. Well, saying that, actually, he retired and he's been to more games now than he was when he was flipping DJing. So I don't know what he's retired from exactly, but I'm only joking. I love him really. He's a good lad.
He's a great lad. And then this question is a great question actually. And I'm going to start asking this to more people. This has come from Christian Moore. What's your favourite Indian dish?
Oh, that's a great. So I'm a bit of a late starter to this one, but the shashlik, like the dry one.
Oh right.
Have you heard of that? So it's called a chicken shashlik, and it's basically what it is imagine meat on a skewer with peppers and onions, sort of like tikka style, and then clay oven and kind of like barbecued almost, and then taken off the skewer, served, and then you have it with either a vegetable curry or a what's the spinach dish that they do? Yes, one of those. Bit of rice, game changer. A chicken shashlik. Yeah. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
I have the lamb version of that.
Nice.
Lamb sheik.
Yeah, right, okay. So there's no sauce at all?
Yeah, no sauce at all. Yeah. But I keep the stuff that comes with the poppadoms, like the mint yogurt and the mango chutney.
Yeah, nice.
And that all goes with it really, really nicely.
That's my downfall, unfortunately. I get like 25 poppadoms, fill myself up, and then I'm done.
But so you're new to Indian food, or just...
No, new to the shashlik. Normally I'd be like, I like garlic chili chicken as a backup.
Mm.
I don't mind a bit of spice, but I think as I've got older, my tolerance to spice has definitely decreased. So a garlic chili chicken is about my limit.
We did talk earlier, obviously, with your lads playing and trying to get the nutrition right.
Yeah.
Are you partaking in that as well?
100%. So if we're doing, Alex lives on sort of chicken, pasta, chicken, rice, broccoli, prawns, stuff like that. So he's eating really well. He had to kind of figure it out himself a little bit. We had to kind of, Smits is there to advise us, and as parents we're there to advise us, but at the same time I need him to kind of step up a little bit and figure it out, and he has done in the last couple of years. He's really brought into it. So yeah, if we're making chicken, rice and broccoli for him before training, then that's exactly what I'll have, and I'll take it to work the next day or whatever. Yeah, so it definitely rubs off. Although I did have a KFC the other day, so that's probably, I did, he didn't, but yeah, naughty.
Well, you commented that I had on my Instagram this evening was my post-gym meal, which you thought was a pizza. But
it looked like a pizza.
It was actually a chorizo omelette with salsa on top.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
But that's like, what they call it? They call it, when you do it with your kids, it's called sharing. When you're only sharing like the good stuff on social media.
Yeah.
Didn't share was that this morning, because it was payday, I had Tim Hortons for breakfast.
Damn straight. I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you at all. But I can get on board with omelette. Eggs, protein, I could definitely get on board with an omelette, no doubt.
No, that's something else I need to try, actually. I keep messaging Tim Hortons about getting them involved in UK hockey. They should start sponsoring some of the...
Are they not even involved in the Elite League or anything?
I don't think they are, and it's
just a shame, isn't it?
Could be.
Someone's like the Tim Hortons UK marketing dude, or dudess, we're not here to judge, needs to really get involved in that.
Yeah, and whoever's doing that needs to start opening Tim Hortons locations near ice rinks. They will do so much better if they're near ice rinks.
It is definitely one of the treats of going to MK. Playing away in MK is getting a Tim Hortons and Taco Bell next door. That's about Saturday night in MK consists of a Tim Hortons en route, a Taco Bell before the game, and then hopefully 3 points as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we said, mate, we'll get something sorted for early next year so we can discuss the Jets' 40th anniversary. If I can be part of that in any way, I'd absolutely love to help out.
100%.
And yeah, we'll get all that cracking for them. For now, mate, good luck for the rest of the year. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it, mate. Hopefully we'll see you in Sheffield, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Cheers, pal.
A massive thank you to Wayne for joining me. Also, that little bonus sort of 10 minutes at the end there where we forgot. We thought, you know what, I can't let him get away with that. As soon as I stopped recording, he said, I got away with the questions. And I was like, nah, you're not getting away. We've got to do it. Great question there about the Indian. I could get cracking on Indian food all day long. Well, make sure that you do head over onto the ZPG social media pages and take part in the ZPG Superfan quiz if you want to win a pair of tickets to the Steel City Showdown, the national playoff finals for Division 1 and Division 2 happening in Sheffield over the weekend of April the 12th and 13th, all courtesy of the England Ice Hockey Events team. Thank you so much to them for letting me give away these tickets. So thank you so much for listening to this episode with Wayne. I really do hope you have enjoyed it. And as we did speak there, hopefully that might end up with getting 10 out of 10 on the coach's thoughts at some point throughout this season, if not, maybe next. Later on this week, I'll have another interview episode coming out where I'll be catching up with the girls at the rink. They've started this incredible new social media movement for girls to go and watch hockey, to feel that they're in a safe space, feel welcomed, and also feel like they know a little bit about it as well. So it's just a really, really good project that the girls are doing there. Maddie, Becky and Jazz, and they will all be with me later this week as we just talk hockey. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hair thinning can happen for so many reasons. Whether it's stress or hormones or anything, at Nutrafol we've learned that real change starts below the surface. Our hair growth supplements take a whole body approach and target the key root causes of hair thinning, so you can see visibly thicker, stronger hair in 3 to 6 months.
Hair growth starts from the inside at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com.